welcome. This is the first episode of my knitting podcast. My name is Arianna and I'm from Italy. I live in the northern part of Italy in a little city that is called Mantova, and I show you some images and I will include some videos in my podcasts. I've been wanting to do this podcast for ages. I've recorded several episodes and then I deleted them. I hate my voice when I speak English. I don't know why. So I hope it's not too grating, or I hope it's not too unpleasant. I already have a little French podcast, an Italian podcast. That's how I started watching French podcasts ages ago. I've been knitting. I've started knitting like a lot of you, I'm sure, with my gran when I was a child, and I think it went really out of fashion, and then I had other hobbies and other passions, and then my gran passed away a few years ago, and I decided that I don't know. I felt this urge of continuing something that I associated her with, the knitting. She was an avid knitter, and she was a marvelous one. And I thought I could, relive a little bit I don't know. It's very corny. I know it sounds really corny when I say it, so I'll stop it. But I know that you get the point. It was, and then I've discovered this plethora of yarns and models and beautiful patterns, and oh my goodness! So I've started really timidly, and then I've got more and more involved, and now I love knitting, and I can't stand spending a day without my needles and my wool or my cotton in the summer, because here it gets quite hot. So I started watching French podcasts first, and then English and American and Aussies and from all over the world, and from South Africa, and I love this knitting community. I really do love it. So I should start. Usually in my French podcasts, I start talking about the podcast that I enjoyed recently, just because it's always about sharing, and then I talk about my finished project and my work in progress. So let's start with my some new podcasts that I've recently discovered. One of my favorites of all times is called the Green Bean podcast, and it's by this girl who lives in Devon, and I love Devon. I lived in Devon for many years, and seeing her walking in the moorland in Dartmoor and in those beautiful forests, and it makes me feel a little bit. Anyway, yeah, I can't even say I'm homesick, because is it home? I lived in England for almost 20 years, so probably I lived in England for most of my adult life. So yeah, probably it is home. I really feel like a Prius, like a hybrid. I'm a little bit here, a little bit there. And Nigel wanted to come back to England, because to Italy, sorry. Well, he wanted to live in Italy more permanently, because he wanted to improve his Italian, and because he wanted to get to know the mentality and a little bit the Italian word. And but it's Mantova is a cute little city, so it has been a nice swap as well. So so go and check the Green Bean podcast. She's an illustrator, so every in each episode she talks about her illustrations and her life as an illustrator. She always shows knitting project and a sewing project, and she has an adorable dog. Oh my goodness, she has the best dog. She's so cute. I really I adore her podcast. It's beautiful. Okay, let's talk about knitting. What do you think? First project. This is my finished project. I'm so excited and I'm bragging. It's called the Twigs by Junko Okamoto. It's a beautiful pattern. I'm sorry, I'll go and hope I don't want to make too much noise. It's an oversized sweater filled with these mad color work patterns, and I absolutely love it. I think it's flattering, I think it's warm. I don't know, I can't say I enjoyed every part of it, because you know there have been some parts here. This one is like an 80 stitch repeat, and probably if you are, you know, a seasoned color work knitter, I don't know, probably say, yeah, 80 stitch, easy. But for me it was like, what? So I had to put markers everywhere, stitch markers everywhere, and lines, and here, so I had to be really organized. But the result was amazing. I really enjoy color work. Actually, I've discovered after this, I must have done, because it was an enterprise. And what did I change? My modifications, 2 colors. I've only used 2 colors instead of 3. And actually at the beginning, because I tried the third one, I couldn't find it. And actually I found that with 2 it's a little bit probably more graphic-y. It has more of a graphic feel, but I love it. I think it's really pretty, and I love the neck, the funnel neck. I think it should, there is only one size in her pattern, because I think it's so heavily patterned that the color work is so, probably it is difficult to size it up and down, because I've always with these massive patterns here. This one is a 40 stitch repeat and this one is an 80 stitch repeat, so probably it's very difficult to size it up and down. But I adore it. It's so pretty. Second modification, the sleeves. I really like, if I go boxy, I usually go for fitted sleeve, because I'm quite a large person. I'm not large, I'm just round. You know, I can't say, but I'm all round. I've got a round head, I've got a round body, and if I did round sleeves as well, I think it would have just made me look more like a balloon. But yeah, so at a certain point I stopped the increases, and then when I separated for the body, I kept the whole 400 stitches for the body, and I can't remember how many stitches, but less stitches, I think around 50 or 60 for the sleeves. I worked them, I forgot, just a second. I worked it with this wool here, which is Shaffhouser wool, and it's a Shetland for men. I found that in a thrift store, in a thrift store. Can never say it. Just my venture is gone. So yeah, in a sort of charity shop in Verona, and I was so chuffed when I saw it was this basket with, I can't remember, I think there were almost 20 balls of this wool. I looked, and I love Shetland. It felt, yeah, really soft. It felt really nicely. It was €1 each, so it was a super bargain. I used 8, it's 400 gram in total, this jumper. I used 8 balls, and I think it's like 5 of these, and more than 5 of these, and 3 of these, less than 2.5. And I'm super happy because it created a fabric that is so beautiful. It's so soft, it's so light, it's really it's gorgeous. When I went to look, so I couldn't find any more wool from these, but I found some fantastic posters, like adverts for like publicity posters, I don't know, in the 50s and the 60s, and they were marvelous. They were so beautiful. So I'll put some here so you can admire them. They are so beautiful. And yeah, I would buy this wool again. It's a Swiss wool. It is for 50 grams, and it is made in Switzerland, but probably many years ago. Oops. Fantastic. I loved working with this, and yeah, it was a bargain. It was recycling in a way, so you know, I'm in a period where I'm not, we are primary school teachers, and we've just stopped working in an international school here in Italy. Then we took some time off to restore our house, and now we're thinking about going to another international school in September. So we have these months where we finished our house. We're still pottering about, but we're not doing much, and we are so yeah, we're doing private lessons. So we have quite a lot of time, and it has been strange because yeah, at the beginning we were a little bit lost, and now we are super happy. We think, I'm just taking advantage of this period. I'll do what I'm loving the most, and so yeah, knitting is certainly one of my top, one of the things that I love the most. Anyway, so after, oops, I'm looking how long I'm talking, because I talk a lot. It's part of my Italian, yeah. So what else shall I show you? Well, I've got some socks that I've finished, but yeah, I love striped socks, and I love making stripes for myself. So here I have some leftovers of these. This is a Fabel, I can't remember the color. It's like a nutmeggy color, and this one is some black from West Yorkshire Spinners, the signature. And I do like socks like this, and plus I love finishing off all of my leftovers. So I had made these ones with some leftovers of Regia, leftovers of West Yorkshire Spinners, and this one is I didn't know this wool, Debbie Bliss Rialto luxury socks. And if you see that the cuff is super long, still haven't done the it's because I wanted to finish it. I want to finish. I find that I'm so happy when I finish all of my yarn up to the last meter, really. So, and it's a beautiful color. I bought on the website Wool Warehouse, on the Wool Warehouse website last year when I went back to England to see Nigel's parents, and yeah, and I bought a lot of sock yarn because here in Italy I find it a little bit difficult to find sock yarn, above all in the local shops, and the shops which sell online, they usually, you know, I don't know, it's a little bit more expensive for post and package, etc. So voila. So when I go back to we should go back to England in a couple of months. I drink. It's a little cold. Cold coffee. Yummy. So now some other projects. So I felt for 2 years we worked in this private international school, which was one of the worst experiences of our lives. It was really terrible. So all of my creative juices have been suppressed, and now I feel really free, and I feel like, oh yeah, I want to create my own patterns, but not because I don't think I want to become a pattern designer or anything like this, but and I've started writing them down and put them on Ravelry, only because I just thought it's a little bit of a good karma. So my hand, I spent years and years pilfering patterns left and right. I will want to free, thank you. And so I thought, why not? Let's be kind and let's give back. So I bought this wool, which is Miss Tricot. I think you will. It's not even famous in Italy, so I don't know. I picked it up in a little shop in. Can't remember. I think it was Modena. Can't remember. And I haven't done anything for ages. And then I've made this one. This one came out a little bit small. I have a big head, a little bit small. So I retried it and I made it a little bit larger. I added one repetition, and actually I quite liked it. So as a hat, so I just thought, do you know what? I'll write the pattern down so someone else maybe can use it. So I'll try it with my white hair. Okay, my white hair. Usually I've got pink hair, but I'm waiting. We are sending off CVs, and I'm waiting for if they call us for interviews. I'll go blonde. Otherwise, I'll go back to be pink. So, oops, wait, I'm really. So this one is the hat. I called it, I can't remember. I think I called it New Beginnings, and you can find it in Ravelry. My Ravelry name is Adi Krishna, but I'll write it down in the show notes. I love the Hare Krishnas. When I was in London, I used to follow them and sing with them, and I love diversity in this word. So there is this it's very simple practically. It's worked with, I think I've done these the ribbing in 5.5, 5.5 millimeter needles, and this one is in 7s, so 7mm needles. Practically, I think there is just about 100 grams, 90 grams of wool. It's a super chunky, and oh my goodness, it's fast. You knit it in 1-2 evenings, you've already knitted it. This one is quite intuitive. It's a very simple cable, and anyway, if you like it, go and grab it. So this one, I've got 2 models. One is the smallest one. I tried it on my nephew, who's 3, and it was a little bit buggy, but yeah, it fitted him quite well. And this one, I think it's a little bit, it's more like a beanie. So, it's a snug hat, but it's really easy to just modify it. You just add one extra cable and a few extra repetitions, and I swear these are so fast to make, and I think they're quite pretty. I'm quite proud of them. I know I shouldn't brag. Ooh, I'm bragging today. Ooh, on my twigs and my hat. So go and grab it if you want, if you fancy something really easy. I'm not even bothered. The wool was really like it's called Miss Tricot, and the wool is actually really nice, but I've never seen it anywhere else apart from that shop, and I can't even remember in which shop I bought it. And anyway, it's a chunky yarn. I put the sample, I put all of the information in the pattern anyway. Then, as that one was a little bit too snug as a hat, it was a tiny bit too snug, I've made another one. I just thought, I'm having this massive bun. My goodness, my hair. Luckily, I'm not very vain. I've got a massive herpes as well. The stress of. So I made a slouching, and this one fits a little bit better. My massive hat and my massive head. Oops. So this one, so it's. I think it's really pretty. And I made it with 2 threads, because I remade it, I haven't really blocked it, because I never block hats. I've got a big head. I made it with 3 what do you say it? So I made 2. Anyway, I used drops alpaca, alpaca by drops, 2 strands, 3 strands held together. So the first one is a pale lilac. Anyway, I've got everything written in the down below. So one was a very pale lilac, the other one was a pearl grey, and one was a strand of white mohair by Rowan that I had since I don't know when I started knitting. I bought all these, the weirdest yarn. Really, I was saying, oh yeah, I'll buy this one, because there weren't many yarn shops around me. And I was looking for bargains. When you start knitting, you don't know what's fingering, what's worsted. So I bought this lace weight. I didn't know what it was. White mohair, and I think, what do I do with that? I don't know. But anyway, I've used it now. Can you see? And so it's made with this texture, which is a sort of Andalusian. I think Andalusian is the right word, stitch, and it's really simple. It's knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and then it's 2 rows of knitting. Well, I'll show you in a minute, because the right one, the correct way for this stitch would have been actually 3 rows of knitting, of all knit, yeah. But I made a mistake. But actually it's quite nice. It's a very nice, soft, plump texture. I've already written the pattern. I just have to double check it, and then I'll put it online. So I'm Ari Krishna on, because Arianna, but Arianna was already taken. So Ari Krishna has been like a joke for ages. Here on my Ravelry, and you can download it for free if you want, if you fancy. It's really simple. It's another simple pattern. 4.5mm needles for the ribbing, and 5.5 for the rest of the thing. Lately, I've been knitting with very big needles, and I'm quite enjoying it. Actually, it goes so fast. So these are my work, my finished projects. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2. And my work in progress. I've got 2 to show you. So, but it will be really quick, because practically there isn't much to show. So I've started some socks. I never start my socks. I want to do some socks in color work. So I went on Pinterest. My name is Arianna Mantovani. So if you want to check my board, I don't know. And I've found all of these beautiful Latvian patterns. I can't remember how I went. Anyway, I watched the podcast, really. That's a surprise. I watched the podcast, and they showed these beautiful mittens made by this Latvian design. And so I thought, ooh, that's really interesting. It's very geometric. So I thought, oh, I like it. And I went on Pinterest, and I found a lot of charts, from old books, etc. Unfortunately, they're always for mittens, and most of them are, they're not for 72 stitches. They're for 40 stitches, because probably it's 40 and 40. And so I had to adapt the chart. Now look at my high tech drawing. So probably I'll do a blue. So I'm using some blue from Fabel and some red from West Yorkshire Spinner, Cayenne pepper it's called. I love it. I bought it to make contrasting heels, and then I love it. So I'm going to make like the main body of the sock will be red, just to be nice and punchy. And this will be the pattern. All my maths, primary school teachers. And yeah, so it will be another, I will do like some blue, and then there is all this series of squares, and then there is this like sort of geometric pattern with this star in the middle. So and then you have to repeat this one underneath, and then I'll show you next time, because at the moment I'm just at the designing, it's a big word, but I just like to do something when I'm tired and when I'm working. I'm so thankful of having a design there with all of the calculations done and everything made, and so I just don't have to think about anything apart from following the pattern. But like now I feel it's quite a challenge. It just makes my brain work a little bit better. Now my last working project, working in progress maybe, sorry. I've been making a jumper for my boyfriend Nigel, and look what wool is chosen. Okay, so I went to my last knit cafe, and this girl was knitting with the most beautiful yarn. Really, it was knitting beautifully. So I asked, "Where did you buy it?" And she said, "Oh yeah, there is this. It's like it's a fabric shop where they sell remnants and all sorts. It's massive." And then, so if you go at the back, there are big baskets full of yarn from bankrupt companies, because I went to check, and this one, this company, poor thing, they went bankrupt. And this one it's not written, the composition, they say it's 100%. They say it's 100% wool. When I blocked it, it's meant like wool, so hopefully there is a high percentage of wool. If not, it feels like wool. It feels like a woolen kind of wool. It's very strong and very light, and it works up beautifully. So I've done a sample. I don't know if you can see it. I've done a sample because I wanted to check. Naturally, it's not written which size needles, etc. So I've done 5.5. Then I tried like how do you call a seed stitch, this one, and then I've tried my new friend, the Andalusian stitch, because I'm probably, I don't know if you can see it if I come closer. And I thought this one was too bulky and was too chunky and a little bit too stiff for this kind of jumper, for this kind of wool and yarn, and so I've tried again just a little variation of this. So the correct way now with knit, purl, and then 3 whole rows of knit, and I'm really enjoying it. I looked at it and I thought, whoa, it's beautiful. Let's start. So I've I'm whistling as well. So I've started the jumper. It's a very simple raglan jumper, so there's nothing really to talk about. I didn't use a pattern. I had a pattern that I wanted to use. It was the one from Quince & Co, but it's a simple raglan pattern. So I've done a little edge like this because I really like it, and I know Nigel really loves these kind of necks. Then I've done my ribbing, my 1/1 ribbing, and then I've just separated the body and while I was watching yesterday, we were watching The Terror. Ooh, it's a beautiful Netflix. Is it Netflix? I think so. It's a beautiful Netflix series. Really, it's a little bit cold because it's in the Arctic. So, but I find it really, really nice. So there you go. There's nothing really to talk about, but another brown jumper. When we were there in front of the basket, I thought, Nigel, look at this beautiful blue wool. No, grey, dark grey. No, I like this one. After a month, because I spent a month with brown wool, and now. But do you know what? It goes so fast. It's super, super fast. And so yeah, I can't wait to finish it, and I'm sure I will be finished quite soon. I always feel yesterday was when I separate the sleeves in a raglan sweater, I always feel like I've finished. That's it. Probably because it's more, you don't have that massive amount of stitches. It's a more manageable chunk of knitting, and so this is it actually for my knitting. And I have one. No, I'll show you next time maybe. I think that's it. I've done, let me see how many minutes. I think around 20 minutes. of chatting for my first episodes. I think it's enough just to get to know one another. I hope you spent a nice, I'm really happy that I made it and I finally overcome my fear of recording in English. So thank you very much for staying up to the end. Have a lovely weekend. Happy knitting. I hope you're enjoying your yarn projects and crocheting and sewing and everything. And so hopefully see you soon. Have a lovely February and ciao. Bye.